Yo, what's up, everyone? Let's get started on Instagram here. Yeah, I still haven't viewed the video. You're right, Gio. Look, man, I've been just working on my own thing so much. I've been forgetting about pretty much everything else. My bad on that. All right, let's go. Let's go on Instagram here. We'll get started. Yeah, I'll take a, I'll get to it when I do though, Gio. I just know I will get to it. I just don't know when. Because I'll be honest, when I finally am done working for the day, the last thing I think in my mind is to go on TikTok, so it doesn't even cross my mind. What's up, everybody? I got some exciting news. I have mounted the third Magnetron, which means that we're going to do a test run today, and it's going to be at 3 times the power than the first ever test run we did. And with 3 Magnetrons, that means that this machine now is actually going to be operating on as much power as my Mark IV machine, or my past plastic to fuel machine. Now, of course, Supreme2, thank you for the Bitcoin. You said for NatureJab went live. I appreciate you, Supreme2. You've sent me some Bitcoin before as well off of Cash App. I appreciate you, Supreme2, for your contribution to this project. So, as I was saying, my Mark IV reactor operated off of 3 Magnetrons, meaning this is now as powerful as that. However, it doesn't mean it's going to work the same, and I'll tell you why. Punk Aussie, what's up? Thank you for the badge on Instagram. Since this machine is so much bigger, and it has so much more volume, even though we're going to have it with as much power, it still won't work as quickly or as efficiently as it will be when it's at full power. So, right now, it's officially at 1/4 of its maximum power, which is a good thing, but also, still a bad thing because it's just 1/4. Nonetheless, it's huge progress. I've done a few other things too. I've got some new meters. I also dropped down the pipes. They used to be taller than me. I did that for a reason. The reason being is because right now, since this reactor is operating under less power, with the pipes being so tall, a lot of the oils are just going to get condensed back into the reactor itself. They won't come over for us to collect them. So since I dropped the pipe, we actually should get some oils, right? Some. It won't be much, but the idea is we want to get some, hopefully enough oils to at least burn something fire. That'd be pretty cool, right? What's up, Morbid, the Shred Dad on YouTube? Just want to send some love and positive vibes. Thank you always for sharing the adventure. Thank you so much. You said you're doing this as well, Emmanuel? Oh, okay. Well, that's what's up. You said your reactor is smaller. Well, yeah, my reactors, hey, I started small too. In fact, anybody doing this, I recommend you start small. Definitely don't start big like this because, with this reactor here, there's just so many things that can go right and so many things that can go wrong as well. So, what I got here, it's a box of shredded plastic. Now, you guys that were in the live stream yesterday, you remember we were running the machine, and then vapor stopped forming, and I found out why. It was because there was no more plastic in the machine anymore. It all had turned to carbon, pretty much. I forget that since this plastic is shredded so fine, it breaks down super quick. Thank you for the badge, Bud Buddy, on Instagram. I appreciate you. So we got shredded plastic. We're going to load in this whole box of shredded plastic. This should be, enough. Thank you guys for the plastic shredder. We were able to get this shredded plastic, such a fine consistency. Thanks to that amazing plastic shredder we got. Thanks to all your donations. So I appreciate all of you. But we're going to load in this whole box of this stuff. And this still would barely be much plastic. I forget how much volume is reduced, right? Because I've never had a shredder that shredded the plastic this finely before, right? So, you say, will it be BPA free? Yeah, BPA gets destroyed inside of the reactor because of all the heat. It's an organic molecule, so the heat just breaks it apart. Now it's no longer BPA. Just like how the heat breaks apart the plastic, and when we get our fuels, the fuels are no longer plastic. There's something different. James Carden, thank you for the $10 donation on the Cash App. I appreciate you, James, for your contribution to the project and to history. So, what we do, guys, is we load in plastic, right? Oh, on YouTube, you guys can't see the plastic. Bring it down a little bit. So, we load in plastic, right? But that's not it. Once we load in the plastic, we also need to load in carbon. So, the carbon mixes with the plastic. If you were to go and put plastic in your microwave oven, right? It's not going to heat up. Nothing will happen to it. But in order for us to allow microwaves to heat up and break down this plastic in this reactor, we mix it with carbon, and the carbon allows the plastic to now be heated by the microwaves. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to load in the plastics into the reactor, load it, mix it with the carbon, and then turn it on. Well, we got to suck out all the oxygen after we load it in. But we'll do that, then we'll turn the reactor on. So let's go ahead and get to it. This time around, I'll keep you guys back here as I load this plastic in, just because you should be able to see. You won't be able to see it really fall in the glass as well, but you pretty much get the idea. You'll be able to see it go in general, right? So sometimes it's a little bit difficult to load this plastic in if it's windy. I don't like to get little plastics floating everywhere, so I'm going to be very careful as I load this. Alright, so we loaded in the plastic now. Now we're going to go ahead and load in the carbon. Once again, we have to add carbon with the plastic because carbon allows the plastic to be heated up and broken down by microwaves. So now we're going to go ahead and put the carbon in. Alright, so once carbon is mixed with the plastic inside the machine, we can now turn on the blades to spin it, mix it all together. But the next most important step before we could turn it on is we got to get all the oxygen out. So I actually have a vacuum pump hooked up to this machine that I actually can completely wirelessly control thanks to this dongle here of different relay switches. So I'm going to turn on my vacuum pump. But I actually have a meter as well that'll let us know how much of a vacuum we have on this thing. Because we don't need to actually pull anywhere close to a true vacuum. We just need enough of a vacuum to where there's not enough oxygen in there to really cause any type of oxidation reactions, or most importantly, any type of explosions, right? So, let me see, I gotta get all the cameras in range here. You see this thing right here? This yellow meter that I have on the pipes, right? That right there, one moment. So yeah, this right here, this is called a manometer. And this essentially will just let me know how much of a vacuum we're pulling on this. Is it holding the vacuum? Are there leaks? Whatever. So what we do actually, so I have a yoga ball here. And I hook up this yoga ball to the output end of this reactor. So when I pull the vacuum, the yoga ball is going to get sucked dry as well. Sucked out of, all the air gets sucked out. And actually what will happen is going to be that as we turn the machine on, right, the plastics break down into a vapor. It ends up being like natural gas. And we need to know when that vapor has filled up the machine. So that way, we don't ever suck in air by accident, because that will cause an explosion. Well, this yoga ball will start filling up with the natural gas, and when we start to see this fill up, that means that there's now a positive pressure in the reactor, no longer under vacuum, meaning that we're not sucking oxygen. So that's kind of is a 2-in-1 thing here. So you're going to see, right now, it's already pretty much sucked pretty dry, but there's some air in there, so you're going to see it go out just a little bit more. Let's go ahead and turn on this this vacuum pump here. I got to hook up my manometer as well. Well, that's great. I think the bloody thing died. Of course, of all times, right? When I'm actually trying to use it, completely dies on me. Because that meter was going to let us know, not even by eye, but literally by number, is it under vacuum or not. It's pretty much a vacuum gauge, right? But now we got to just kind of look at the yoga ball and watch it fill up to know for fact, are we under vacuum or not. So that's a little bit frustrating. It's weird too, because I had just tested it before I went live and it was working fine. It might need new batteries. That might be all it is, but that's weird nonetheless. So anyways, I got a temperature gauge on there as well. But now you can see this thing is, completely sucked dry. So that lets us know that pretty much there's no air in this reactor anymore, right? Just roughly. It's not guaranteed, especially if you don't have your meters working to let you know by number, right? But for the most part, we got all the air out. Definitely enough of the air is out to where we're not going to have a risk of oxidation or risk of explosion. So now we could turn it on. Now, I would do one thing before I turn it on. I'm going to spin the blades forward and reverse just to mix the plastic with the carbon that we put in there for one. And then the next thing after that is pretty much that's it. We turn it on. And I have, once again, my wireless remotes. So I can turn it on from a distance for safety. Because these are very high voltages. If something is shorted, I don't want to figure out it's shorted while I'm right next to it. Or even if the reactor itself, were to explode, I don't want to be right next to it when it explodes. Thank you for the badge on Instagram, Gabriel. So now we're going to go ahead and turn it on after I spin these blades, which I'll do back there. I really do wonder why this thing had just completely gone out on me like that. It's odd. Alright, so we got it on now. And now that it's on, it's pretty much just a waiting game at this point. We're just waiting on this yoga ball to start filling up. Now right now I just have 2 of the Magnetrons on. I'll turn the 3rd one on in a second. I just like to make sure, I like to go slower than quicker. I like to make sure that everything is running fine, no leaks, no, if something's gonna blow up, let it blow up with half the power on, not all the power on type thing, So I'm gonna give it probably a minute or 2 of running with 2 Magnetrons on, just to make sure before I turn on the 3rd one. But she's on. And we should start to see this yoga ball filling up now that we, we loaded in some fresh plastic and things are looking good. It'll take a second because once again, since we are under vacuum, we pulled out all the air from the chamber, and now the chamber's pretty much completely empty. And now the whole chamber has to be filled up with the plastic vapors before they're actually going to make their way into this yoga ball here. So I just like to take a look at everything, make sure it's running smooth. Like I said, no leaks. I'd rather have a small leak now than a big leak with max power on, Everything looks good. Alright, well I guess it's time to turn, we're going to turn the 3rd Magnetron on, right? It's time. It's kind of like, why not? Well, there probably are a few reasons why you shouldn't do anything I'm doing, but it's definitely, yeah, everything looks good. Everything looks good. I wish that my manometer was working though, because I'll literally be able to tell you by number how the vacuum is going down, Now we just have to wait on the yoga ball. Purely visual, which, I mean, that's fine, that's cool. At least we have that visual example, but it's still, since I have the meter, I would have loved to use it, right? Alright, let's turn the 3rd one on. As always, we always do a small prayer before we turn anything new on, because you never know what's about to happen when you're building a machine in your backyard like this. You never know if it's about to be the best run ever, or if it's going to be the last run ever, so always got to be grateful. Now my 3rd one, I don't have a wireless switch yet for it, but I have a switch here on the wires. Obviously, you can see how far away I am from it, so when I flip this switch, the 3rd one will be on. Alright, let's go. 1, 2, 3. Alright. We got 3 Magnetrons on. This machine right now is operating at the full power of my last machine. So it's certainly, we're certainly building up. And here's the thing. It's operating at the full power of my last machine, but guess what? It's operating at just a quarter of the total power of this machine when we have all the Magnetrons mounted. When we have all the Magnetrons mounted, this thing, it's going to be 12 Magnetrons total. 12. So, it's going to be a lot of power going in. It's going to consume as much power as a house. I think the yoga ball is starting to fill up already. It has to be. I think it is. Slowly. Oh yeah, it's filling up. Watch that yoga ball as I talk to you guys. The good thing is, this is a waiting game at this point, but we can just sit here and talk, and you're going to see things happening as we're just sitting here talking. I'm trying to make sure you guys on YouTube can see it as well. But, oh yeah, it's definitely filling up. You know what this reminds me of, guys? This reminds me of when I ran my Mark IV reactor at full power for the first time. I was terrified. And that was with just 3 of them. This thing's gonna have 12. I can't even tell you how terrified I'm gonna be of running this reactor when we have all 12 mounted on there. I can't even tell you. So let me explain what this means. Because if you're taking a look, the yoga ball is clearly filling up slowly. What does that mean? Well, since the yoga ball is filling up, that means that the plastic in this machine is currently being broken down by the microwaves and being turned into vapor. Alright? It's not burning since there's no oxygen. It's being actually turned into crude oil vapor. That crude oil vapor is going up through these pipes you see, and it's making its way past these condensers, which will condense the oils out of that vapor. It's making its way past those condensers and actually making it into this ball. Now, because there's some vapors that can condense. And there's some vapors that never condense. And those vapors that never condense are natural gas. The vapors that do condense are crude oil, aka gasoline, diesel, jet fuel, all that good stuff. So, that's what's happening here. Hey, do I have any moderators in the TikTok chat? Somebody asked, where's my PPE? I have it right next to me in case I need it. But here's the good thing about this machine. When it's operating properly, no leaks, there's no emissions, there's no pollution, there's no waste, there's no toxicity around. When it's operating how it's supposed to operate, it's like this. It's chill. All you hear is a fan blowing. But there's no leak. I don't have to put on a mask. But if we have an explosion or a leak happen or something like that, then yeah, I gotta put on a mask. But there's nothing. There's no emissions, no vapors. Look, the yoga ball is definitely filling up. It's definitely filling up now. Look, great to see. Great to see. And mind you guys, we also have blades on the inside of this machine that will spin and agitate the plastic around, will help break it down even quicker. The only issue with those blades are when you turn those blades on, it increases the pressure in this reactor by a lot for a short second. So I like to slowly build up to these tests with the blades. This is the first time ever running 3 Magnetrons at once. So right now I'm just trying to make sure we can survive with just 3 Magnetrons, right? Let alone 3 Magnetrons and blades spinning at the same time too, right? We slowly build up. But the whole point of this machine is that the blades will always be on. So as the plastic is inside the machine being broken down, let me go back to what we were saying before. So obviously it's bringing down to a vapor. You see the yoga ball starting to fill up, right? Breaking down to a vapor. We also, look, if you take a look at the sight glass, it's getting super cloudy. I don't know if you can see it. It's kind of scary because that means that we're getting some pressure in here now, guys. It's never been that cloudy before. This thing got some pressure in it, and I wish my manometer was working, because we'd be able to know exactly how much pressure. But take a look at that sight glass. This thing is completely cloudy. Now, that's a good thing, though, because that means we're also getting oils, too. We're going to get some oils from this, but this is under pressure right now, so that means that if one of my gaskets fell, there will be a minor explosion like we had before. So it is a little bit scary to see that, I won't lie. And I do kind of want... But it's a good sign, though. We want to see that. Can you guys on YouTube see that? All right, yeah, you guys on YouTube can see. That sight glass is foggy. It's never been cloudy like that before. It's just been a little bit cloudy. But for it to be cloudy and foggy like that means that we got some real vapors coming through, which means this thing is definitely under pressure. It's definitely under positive pressure now. Now, when I say that, I don't mean it's under like a crazy amount. The most this thing probably ever gets up to is 3 psi, right? It's not a crazy amount of pressure, but it is pressure nonetheless. And pressure of a flammable gas is definitely not good. Can't you just read the pressure gauge? I can. Oh, crap. Is that a leak? No. Okay, I thought we had a leak because I see some smoke back there. It's not a leak. It's actually some duct tape I have. I have duct tape under the machine that's propping up my temperature probe so we can know the temperature of the body of the machine, and the duct tape is burning. I'm going to make sure. I'm going to confirm for fact it's the duct tape and not a leak. Yeah, it's not a leak. Here's the good thing about this machine when it does leak. This machine, when it leaks, the leaks are like a cloud. It's white vapor, very thick, cloudy, right? So if I see just smoke, like black smoke, gray smoke, I know it's not the machine leaking. It's something else. But the duct tape is definitely melting under there for sure. Right now we're sitting at 70 C, which is probably, how much is that? It's like 160 Fahrenheit. Outside body temperature, that means the inside is probably 300, 400, 500 possibly, because microwaves heat from the inside out. What's up, Positive Being? Good to see you in here. And much love to Sweden. Thank you, Jonathan, for the $15 donation on Cash App. He said, for the future. Hey, listen. We are indeed pioneering the future, and you are a part of the future. So I appreciate your support and the $15 donation to this project. Much love to you, Jonathan. Thank you for the $15 again on the Cash App. Thank you, Positive Being, for paying the Cash App in the TikTok as well. White smoke means it's leaking. Yeah. White smoke means it's leaking. If you see like gray smoke, black smoke, that's not the machine leaking. That's something burning. So it pretty much looks like steam or like a cloud. All right, but guys, look, you see the yoga ball? It is filling up. You see it right there. You remember, this thing was sucked dry. It's filling up. You're watching it happen. You are watching us turn plastic into fuel live right now. Before your eyes. 100% live, no cuts. You're watching it. Because for this thing to be filling up, that means the plastic is having the fuel extracted from it, and it's finding its form here in the vapor form. And that duct tape is burning good, isn't it? I'm just making sure it's not anything important burning. You said, what's the smoke? That's duct tape burning. I have some duct tape under the machine, and currently the machine is getting very hot. The body of it, the belly. So it's melting the duct tape and burning it. I might just take it off, as a matter of fact. So I don't need to be breathing that in, Lord knows. Thank you for the badge, Stolen Adolescent. I don't like touching this thing when it's on, though. I won't lie. Even though I have it grounded like triple, so I won't be shocked or electrocuted, right? I still don't like touching it, but I don't want to be breathing that crap in either. Maybe I'll take a stick. I'm gonna take a stick and take that off, right? I don't want to breathe that in. Yoga ball is filling up. It might be the paint. It might be the paint on the propane tank. Because I still see smoke. But, you know, that's weird. It hasn't smoked any day before. But we do have 3 Magnetrons on. More power than any time before. So, yeah, this yoga ball is filling up. And as a matter of fact, at a certain point in time, this vapor will be flammable, meaning I can take it, light it. And I'll be able to show you guys that to prove that it is natural gas. But the machine needs to get to a certain temperature first before that happens. I do have a pressure relief valve. The only issue is, my pressure relief valve is the lowest I can find was a 10 psi pressure relief valve. Yeah, pressure is building, for sure. That sight glass is completely white. That means that we have oils forming in here. So, looks like my theory, my hypothesis was correct. By shortening this column, now we're having some oil, real oil formation. We've never had the sight glass that cloudy before. So we definitely got a little bit of positive pressure. Once again, I wish I could tell you exactly how much. Let me replace the battery in my manometer and see if that fixes it. Now, I will say, when I was propping it up, I did drop it, but that doesn't make sense why that would completely break it. It was a very small drop, too. So I don't like to work with things that are wusses. Like, how dare this thing break before me after I drop it a mere foot off the ground? What an absolute wuss of a meter. Like, what type of mess is that? It's nothing even mechanical. Like, what mechanically in this thing can break from dropping it a foot? What? Doesn't make any sense. That type of stuff pisses me off. So, I don't know. I think it's the paint. The propane tank paint. I probably should have ground it off. It's definitely burning. So, enough to break the gauge. I mean, I can understand if the gauge was broken, but this thing isn't even on. It won't even turn. Like, what in the world? How does the relay switch that turns this thing on when I press this button, how does that break just from dropping it a foot? See, this was God telling me, get rid of this crap machine. Keeping wuss machines around me that will risk my life. Imagine if I relied my life on something that would break from a simple 1 foot drop. Absolute nonsense. How does that even happen? That makes no sense to me. Like, imagine, that's like if you dropped your phone, right? Like, okay, screen might be cracked, might have some bumps on it. But then imagine you dropped your phone and it stopped turning on altogether. Like, what? It was a crap phone anyway. Time to get rid of it. Same with this crap. I gotta get another one. Because I dropped it 1 foot. Even a human baby could survive a 1 foot drop better than this crap did. Goodness gracious. What a load of bollocks. Anyways, let's move on from this nonsense, because it's just going to set me off thinking about this. Clearly, yoga ball's filling up. I want to see if the vapors are flammable now. Let's see. So, when I unplug this is the only time we have vapors escaping. You obviously can see them. But obviously, they're normally going into the yoga ball. Let's see if they're flammable at this point. Lighter broke, too. Goodness gracious. I can't with this stuff. Oh, there we go. It's working. It's not flammable yet. The machine still is warming up. That's what that means. It's still not up to temperature yet. But, once again, plug it in. Now we got no more pollution or anything. No more leaks. So I don't have to put on a mask when nothing bad is happening. Now, at some point, I do want to spin the blades. But we're going to spin the blades like we did yesterday. We're going to slowly build up to spinning the blades, okay? We're going to spin the blades, like have the blades spinning, then turn the microwaves back on. Not use the microwaves and have the blades on while the microwaves are going. Because every time I've done that, it's been too much of a pressure spike and we've had small explosions. Right. So I don't want to do that mess. I'm not in the mood for another small explosion. But, as I was saying, since we see vapors very clearly like that, that lets us know that we are going to have some oils today, hopefully. Even if it's just a drop, okay? I want to see some oil come out of this thing, right? That'd be very nice. Even just a drop. But, in the meantime, to explain why, as we're doing these test runs, here's the issue with these test runs, right? The test runs, the data on these test runs is so inaccurate. And the biggest reason why is because the whole body of the machine is just not getting hot. Right? Like, I can touch this with my bare hands. It's getting warm, but well, that thing is really smoking now, isn't it? That paint. Rubbing off the paint in it. But here's the thing, right? In order for us to truly be where we need to be with this machine, this whole machine needs to be hot. Like, I shouldn't be able to touch any part of it like this, right? When the whole machine is hot like that, what that means, because I'll tell you what's happening. The plastic is being turned into vapor. Some of that plastic vapor is going through these like we want it. But most of that vapor is just in the body of this tank. Just swirling around in there. And since this tank is cool, the vapors are losing their heat to the tank, and the actual oils are getting condensed on the inside of the tank, right? They're getting condensed where the plastics are. They're not getting condensed over here where we actually want them. So that's why even if we do get oil, we'll barely get any oil, right? Now, once we add more magnetrons, James Pitts, thank you for the $10 donation on Cash App. He said, change the world. Thank you very much, James Pitts. I sure will. Let's change the world. We're here ultimately to completely eliminate plastic waste, turn it into something valuable, and it'll never be an issue again. So I appreciate your donation and your contribution to the project and to history, James Pitts. Thank you for the $10 on the Cash App. So until we add more magnetrons, or even just space them out further down the machine to where the rest of the body of this machine is starting to heat up, we're not going to get any good results, unfortunately. We will get results. Clearly, there is fuel being made, but it's not going to be a lot, and it's not going to be good stuff until we get more magnetrons. What is a magnetron? A magnetron is what creates the microwaves. It's in every single microwave oven. So in this machine right now, I have 3 magnetrons. So this machine running right now is the equivalent of you turning on 3 microwave ovens at once. So right now, even right now, this thing is consuming a lot of energy. But unfortunately, it will not operate how it needs to until it's pretty much at max power. Or at least, you know, I personally think this machine will work fine with 8 magnetrons on, right? I think the 8 will be the minimum. But until we get to that point, you know, all we can do is sit here and just do these slow test runs. These are mainly for safety purposes, really. That's what these test runs are, making sure safety's good as we slowly build up, right? Why not insulate the body? I will be insulating the body once we have all the welding on the machine itself done. We do want to make sure we're not losing heat. How many amps is that? Like 150 amps? It's going to be about 120 amps. Because every single microwave consumes about 10. So about 120 amps, about 1,200 kilowatts, or 12 6,000 watts. So yeah, that's about as much electricity as a house when this thing is done and fleshed out. But I personally think that we don't even need to use 12 at once. But I want 12 in there, so we always have the ability to do more, right? I want 12 total, but I think we'll ultimately will only be running between 8 to 10 magnetrons, which is the equivalent of turning 8 to 10 microwaves on. That's less than I thought for that much natural gas. Yeah, so it takes time to build up, and the reason why is because this yoga ball, right, as it's building up, it's becoming more and more pressurized. So for this machine to fill up this yoga ball, for every little bit it fills up, the machine has to go up in pressure, meaning the plastic needs to be broken down to make more vapors. Since we're not spinning the plastic and helping it, have maximum surface area degradation, the vapor production is going to be slow. And that's why the yoga ball is slow. But if you go on my YouTube channel, for example, when I had Mark IV, when we would have the blades spinning, the yoga balls would fill up quick. Very, very quick. And, that's why we're getting to that point where we're using the blades. But, of course, we got to build up slowly and safely as to make the least amount of mistakes possible on the way there. Because I'm still checking, making sure we don't have leaks. For example, every time I add another magnetron or another mount to add another microwave in here, right? Every time I do that, there's so many places where leaks could form. The gaskets everywhere I weld it. So there's a lot of due diligence that goes around, testing this thing and making sure it's good. So looking at the sight glass is actually less foggy. So what that means is the plastic probably needs to be spun around and agitated. So we're going to do that. We're going to spin the plastic right now, but I'm going to turn the machine off to do it, okay? We're going to turn the microwaves off, spin the blades, then turn them back on. So that way we can slowly build up to it. Eventually, we're going to have the blades spinning and then have the microwaves on while the blades are spinning. We're going to turn them off first, though, just to slowly, build up to that point. Make sure we don't have any explosions, right? Oh, this thing is hot. I can't look. I'll tell you guys right now. Me just putting my hand right here, I can feel the heat. If I touch this thing, I'll get burned. I wonder what the temperature is actually. I'm going to get my temperature gauge because this is definitely the hottest the body has ever been. Which is a good sign, of course. We're going to measure this temperature and then we'll spin the blades and get the other microwaves back on. But I am interested in seeing what this temperature is. I can't even hold my hand here long enough for this thing to pick up. It's pretty hot. Alright, so we just passed 100 degrees Celsius, which is 212 Fahrenheit. And right now it's still going up. Now this is what we want to see, because as the body gets hotter, we start to get better fuels. So we're at 123 degrees Celsius. Which, how much does that come out to? Somebody convert that. It's 123 Celsius. What is that Fahrenheit? That's like, That's probably like 250 Fahrenheit. So the body's hot enough to burn you now. That's what we want to see. Let's turn these blades on. All right, we spun the plastic around. Now we'll turn the microwaves back on. All right, we got all three of the microwaves back on now. Everything still seems fine, no leaks. The body is getting very hot, which is a great sign. Take a look at these vapors. See how they're coming out now. Very little vapors. So what that means, since there's very little vapors, that means that when we turn the blades, now there's new bits of plastic being exposed to microwaves that are now breaking down. So that's good. But essentially, we really need to just have the blades constantly spinning to really do this how we need to do it, ultimately. So I'm scared to turn the blades on while the microwaves are on, but that's what we got to do. That's what this machine was designed to do. That's how it was designed to operate. So that's going to be the real way that we're going to get actual, the best results that we're looking for. The good thing is we do have vapors forming. We do have hot temperatures on the body. So those are good signs. We don't have any leaks up to this point. No explosions or any nonsense. The machine is operating well with 3 magnetrons. Or 3 microwaves on at once, the equivalent, right? So we're going to let it run for a little bit now after we spun those blades. And we're going to see, will we have a lot of vapors forming? If we don't have a lot of vapors forming within 5 minutes, then we're going to turn the blades on. And we're going to keep the blades on, actually. Now, you know, what happened then, we'll see. Now, if you guys remember yesterday, we turned the blades on and had them spinning while we had 2 magnetrons on. So it does work. It's safe, right? We already proven that. But 3, as I told you guys yesterday, adding 1 extra magnetron is an exponential change. It's not like, oh, if you could do 2, you definitely could do 3. When you do 3, it's a lot more pressure than when it's just 2. So that's why I just kind of slowly build up to this. Make sure everything is good. But, you know, like I said, guys, you see yourself, as I run this machine, there's nothing leaking. There's no emissions. No waste. Everything is captured and controlled. In fact, the vapors, I don't have my filters on the machine right now, but the vapors will go through a filter. Once I get this machine more refined how I want it, they're going to go through a scrubbing system to help clean up the vapors. And the good, you know, it's the same thing. Like when this thing is industrial, it'll be the same thing. When it's on, as long as it's operating how it's supposed to operate, it's going to be just like this. Really nothing to see, only something to hear. That's it, you know. There's no It's not like a fire burning or something. It's a pretty chill machine. I am starting to feel some heat at the front here, and that's good. We definitely want to feel that heat at the front, because that means that the body is starting to warm up. Yep, definitely some heat coming in. Still very cold, though, relatively, compared to the back as well. So, yeah, like, that's the thing. When I'm actually operating this machine, you know, it's pretty chill. Now, when I do turn the blades on, I will put my my respirator on and my face shield and my boots and stuff, just in case it does explode, just like I did yesterday. But when we're actually here, we're good. All right, let's see if any vapors came out. If we had any extra vapor formation. Oh yeah, you see that? I'm not breathing that in, but you know, people ask me, do the fuels you make from plastic, are they toxic, right? Can you drink them? And I'm like, can you drink gasoline? Is gasoline toxic? Does gasoline cause cancer? Yes. If it's fuel, it's made for your engine, not for you. So I'm not going to just sit there and breathe that stuff in, obviously. But no, it's not the same as burning plastic. And I'm not putting microplastics in the air or microplastics in fuels. It's a completely different chemical product. But nonetheless, whatever it is, it's from crude oil. And crude oil is meant for engines, not for your body. Yeah, we got some heat up here. That's good to see. It's looking good. The heat is definitely traveling further than it ever has before. So now we're going to do the more dangerous test, which is spinning the blades and then turning on the magnetrons. But it's a dangerous but necessary test. So I get ready just in case. I prepare for the worst. So what we do is we do like we did yesterday. We're going to spin the blades, then turn 2 on. See if anything happens then. Then we'll spin the blades, then turn all 3 on. But we're going to turn it off first. Alright, so we'll turn the blades on the lowest speed possible. Alright, so the blades are currently spinning at the lowest speed possible. I'll get everything on, and then we're going to turn on the first magnetron while the blades are spinning. Alright, so we got 2 on with the blade spinning. We'll turn 3 on in a second here. But so far everything is good. Let's actually take a look at these vapors. I forgot to change the cartridges on my mask actually. Let me do that first. Just in case. We do have an explosion. Yep, everything still looks good. So these cartridges here are for welding. They really are purely for blocking like physical things like dust from getting in your lungs, right? But these cartridges here are for chemicals. So if this thing does leak, there's a ton of vapors, natural gas, whatever, burnt plastic, right? We need these type of cartridges to protect me from that. For some reason, it's really being difficult to get off. Way more difficult than usual. There we go. So, very important to have the right one so you don't think you're safe when you're really not safe, right? Once I get this arranged, we'll turn on the 3rd magnetron. And we'll have 3 magnetrons on while the blades are spinning. Alright. Oh, I wanted to take a look at the vapors and see. Oops. Oh, so far we're good. No explosions. We do have vapor, but the vapor is now invisible. It's no longer cloudy. And that sometimes is a sign that it actually is flammable now. So we're going to see that in a second. But we have the blade spinning. We have 3 microwaves on. And it's operating. So, love to see it. Definitely love not to have explosions any day of the week. Yeah, I'm gonna light it in a second here. But I want to put my mask on first. Because I don't want to breathe it in. My mask popped off here. Honestly, I gotta get a new one. You know what? Every time I have respirators, there's always a strap that breaks. It's never like the actual, this part. It's always these damn straps. Even when I get like the 3M respirators. This one's from Harbor Freight, so I can't really be surprised, but still. Alright, so if the body temperature is hot enough, if the body temperature is indeed hot enough, then this vapor will be flammable. You say this is one hell of a bong? Now, if this is not flammable at this point, that means, once again, body temperature is not hot enough. Because we don't have enough power. The same power struggle we've been dealing with this whole time. Oh, great. Broke my mask. Alright, so let's see. Yeah, it broke. The mask bloody broke. Come on, man. You gotta be kidding me. Whatever. That's just brilliant. And it's just the stupid straps, too. Alright, let's see if it lights. Alright, do I see anything, first of all? I don't see anything. Oh, I don't even see vapors anymore. I don't think there's any vapors there either. Oh, there they are. Still no light. You can actually see the flame kind of getting pushed by the vapors, right? You kind of see it. Let me not bring that in for too long, right? So still, we are underpowered for the size of this machine. We are still underpowered. In fact, there's a lot less vapors than I would even think. You say Harbor Freight is good for one and done scenarios? Yeah, I suppose so. You say it could be the wind? Nah. You know, I've built these many times before. And when those vapors are flammable, they're flammable. It's not like a quiet fire. It's like propane. They burn really well. So in fact, well, I wish I had my mask. Maybe there's some way I can repair this, because I can also do another check to see how many vapors are forming in there. But I need my mask for this, because it's quite an intrusive process to the machine itself. Yeah, like I guarantee you, most of the vapors are just sat inside the machine. They're not being pushed out because the machine is too cold. And that's relatively speaking. It's cold relative to how hot the plastic is getting, right? It's just too big of a machine for these little test runs. Clearly, we gotta start amping up the test runs. I really thought 3 would be enough. Three Magnetrons, that was. But at least it's stable, you know? We're not having any explosions spinning the blades. In fact, next test run we can do... The next thing we can do on the next test run is actually start with the blades always on. The issue is, right, the blades move the plastic down, and the Magnetrons that we have really only cover the first quarter of the reactor. So if the blades are always on, the plastic is eventually going to get pushed past the blades, and, you know, there's not going to be anything happening when that happens, right? Until we get it. So that's kind of where we are. We're just waiting to get enough Magnetrons We can see if we got some oils, though. We can't look at that for sure. We'll see. I don't think we will, but maybe we might. We might even have a drop. We'll see. You see where I have that glass down there? That's the oil collection. So I open up that valve, and if there is any oil, it'll drop into the glass, and we'll see it. So I'm going to go open that valve in a second here. I'm still trying to fix this respirator. And we'll see if we have even a drop of oil, which will be exciting if we do. But I'm also going to check the temperatures of the reactor as well. Nope. We got nothing today. Still indeed a test run for sure. But that's what my goal is. I want to get some oils. Because I think that's really cool on a visual level at least. Because you know, the natural gas, whatever, you fill up this yoga ball, you light it, who cares, right? But even a drop of oil is, now you're talking, now you're doing things. Another issue is I probably didn't put enough plastic in there, to be honest with you. I probably need to put in way more. Now that I'm thinking about it, I definitely did not put in enough plastic. Because the body of this reactor is so big, it needs a lot of it. So, yeah, we got a few things we got to do. But that'll definitely be in the test run tomorrow. We'll put in a lot more plastic. We'll start with the blades always spinning for maximum vapor formation. But the good thing is today, no explosions. Obviously, it's been under pressure. We saw the view glass get as foggy as it's ever been. So this is kind of, I guess you could say, the setup for the real test run tomorrow. Putting in a lot more plastic. Let's see if we got any vapors coming off. Nah, barely any. Well, actually, there's some. I was almost lighting. You see that? Look at that. It almost is catching, but still not quite. Or maybe it is, and the wind is making it invisible. An invisible flame. I saw... It's... If you see that, it's kind of catching and going with the flame a little bit, but nonetheless, it's not what we want to see. We don't want something barely flammable. We want that natural gas completely flammable. So, obviously, we got some adjustments to do tomorrow, but I have a feeling tomorrow we'll actually get some good results. You said I should install the Magnetrons on the other end. Yeah, I will be doing that, but the issue is the placement of them. It's way easier to kind of know how I want them as I'm going down the line. But, you know, ideally, yeah, I definitely need to put some Magnetrons down here. Because the reason we're having issues is because the vapors are going all the way down here and it's cold down here. So they're just staying down here, right? They're not going where they want us, where we want them to go, which is through these pipes and over there. Because they want to go wherever it's coolest, right? These pipes are going to be hotter than it is to just come down here. And obviously, if they're coming down here, we're not getting shite, right? We're not going to see anything. So, you know, I was actually debating that. Because I added my Tron today, and I was like, do I want to just put it down here? Or do I want to, you know, just slowly build the line going down? And I decided to just continue to build the line going down for a few reasons. But, you know, I think that once we get magnetrons into the middle of the machine, we'll be good, right? And right now we're at 3. By the time we get to 6 magnetrons, they're gonna start to get into the middle of the machine, which would pretty much do exactly what we need to do. And you know, microwaves, they spread out, they bounce everywhere. So once the microwaves are in the middle, they're gonna be hitting the end way more. Because like I said, even this is starting to warm up, right? So clearly microwaves are getting down here, just not enough. But most importantly, we don't have any explosions, because who cares about all this microwave stuff if your machine blows up? So that's really the biggest thing, and the biggest good thing. The machine is operating safely and consistently. So that being said, I'll end the live stream here, and we're gonna do another test run tomorrow. Put in a lot more plastic, a lot more, and have the blade spinning right from the beginning, and see if that makes any difference with our oil. If it doesn't, then we just gotta keep going. Gotta add another magnetron. Add 4. You know, we just gotta keep adding more until we get to the point where the machine is getting hot enough and operating exactly how it needs to for us to get oil and the real natural gas that we're looking for. So thank you all for tuning by. I'll see you guys tomorrow when I go live then, running the machine.